Hello, everybody. It's time for
Food
Co-ops
Now.
Hi, this is Jacqueline Hanna with Food Co-op Initiative, and this is our series on what food co-ops are and why they matter.
And hey everyone, this is Bonnie Hudspeth from the neighboring Food Co-op Association. And what are we going to be talking about today, Jacqueline?
Well, we wanted to talk about, we some questions about what we mean by community owned. And so we want to go a little more in depth about what it means when we put into place the second of the 7 cooperative principles, which is democratically owned by our owners. And that to us, to the two of us, really means democratic participation and real control of your own co-op.
Right, so how can startup food co-ops, for example, that are organizing, they don't even have doors on their store yet, but how are they building participation and community ownership? Do you have any stories?
I'm so glad you asked. As you know, one of my favorite examples of true democratic participation in co-ops comes from the startup world. And this, again, like Bonnie said, this is a co-op that is a moment actually building their store. The concrete and steel is going up. They've been organizing for multiple years, and their name is City CoOp. And City Market, forgive me, and they are located in Dayton, Ohio. Now, Dayton, Ohio is actually famous for multiple things, and part of it is that Gem City name is there for a reason, but one of them is that they are termed one of the worst USDA food deserts in the nation, and more accurately, actually, food apartheid is what they're experiencing, which is a term that I learned and was coined by Karen Washington, so check out her work. But in that sense, they have had lack of access to healthy food in many of their neighborhoods for a very, very long time, and nothing's been solving it. So the community decided to solve it themselves. And even that was decided democratically. They got together with their community and said, what do we most need? What issues do we need to solve? And this is how food co-ops generally start. Community members get together and say, we need to do something about food. What do we want to do about it? How are we going to do this together? From the very beginning, the whole community had input on deciding to build a grocery store. Since that time, they've involved their owners in everything. In deciding their mission and vision at the time, they had about 200 owners. They now have well over 2,000. 150 of those owners participated in setting the mission and vision and what they would exist to do as a food co-op. And that's continued throughout. That's how they've always organized. I got a chance to talk to their board president, Amaha Selassie. He's also the director of the Center of Applied Social Issues. And he talked about how building a co-op is not just about getting access to food, which it is. He said, but people need to have hope, and we get hope from actually seeing we have input, that what we need and what we say and our ideas are reflected in the community. And he sees that as an outcome of Gem City Market as much as a terrific grocery store right where they need it.
That is such an awesome story. And I can't help but think about power and how it's really easy right now to feel powerless, to feel like we don't have power to get control over like what food we have access to, or how we can help shape things in our community that are really needed. And to me, this Amaha's story really highlights empowering the community, building power in the community, which means that people have a voice through cooperative ownership. People have decision-making through this cooperative ownership.
Absolutely, and that continued. And when I was talking about the mission, they're in the middle of building a store. They redid their branding and logo because they needed a grocery level branding and logo. They had a committee. Anyone from the community could join to set the brand. They did design work with community and with owners and found things they didn't think of. Like one of the things that they needed an entrance where the bus stop was. They had their entrance facing the parking lot at the back of the building. So they redesigned to make sure there was a really welcoming, attractive, easy to access entrance from the bus stop. That came from the community. What's going to be on the shelves? They're going to have mural art on the walls inside. That was community input saying, we want local artists. Here's some local artists we want you to consider. Everything about their store is going to reflect their community and who they are, and then provide awesome food and awesome jobs in the community. But it's not just startups. Startup food co-ops, people who are organizing now that do participatory democracy and really create stores that reflect their community's needs. There's established co-ops that do this too.
And I got a great story for that. In our region, Upper Valley Food Co-op in White River Junction, they're all about community connection and participation, and they've been in business for over 40 years. And just one example, for their 40th year celebration, they had 40 days of community celebration, including community forums and visioning processes, all of these classes that the community members had asked for. And a lot of this celebration was also a process to represent and collect vision and need from their members and community. And for years, a number of the community was asking for a space, a hub, a focal point where people could share resources and share skills and skill build. And this kept coming up. A number of their annual meetings of member owners, which all co-ops have at least once a year, bringing people together, their focus was on community visioning and process. And so based on this community feedback, they reconfigured their store to offer more opportunities for interaction among customers. They also spent years saving so they could invest in a shared community co-op community center as a place for community connection, where people can gather, where people can share ideas. And they wanted this educational hub where people from all ages can learn fiber crafts, exchange and repurpose materials, and build community power through skill building. And it's called a CoOp. I love it. Their co-op has a CoOp on the upper floor. They also have a library that everyone in the community can access. They also have a meeting space that everyone in the community can access. So in addition to running a profitable business, right, and a grocery store that serves their community, they really, this vision of a community gathering space for skill building, exchange, and a hub for gathering really came to the top through community participation, through member feedback and member voices that led the co-op to make the necessary, investment and foresight to make this happen.
That is a terrific story. And that's what co-ops are all about. They're not just awesome grocery stores that give you access, although they're all that. They really are a place that reflect the needs of your community, and your voice matters. Your vision for what matters in your community means something. So we could talk about this topic all day. We probably will again in this series, but we're going to wrap up. This has been Jacqueline Hanna with Food Co-op Initiative, and my shout out of the week is going to go to the Briar Patch Food Co-op. Briar Patch Food Co-op out in California. They are in Grass Valley. They have been doing some incredible work. During this COVID-19 crisis, they have been in direct contact with several service needs organizations, finding out what the gaps are, what they're not getting them thousands, literally thousands and thousands of pounds of fresh produce, also delivering hot meals to service crisis providers, you name it. And they've been doing all of that while trying to run a business in these crazy times. Shout out to Briar Patch.
Go Briar Patch, go Briar Patch. This is Bonnie Hudspeth with the Neighboring Food Co-op Association. I want to shout out Flatbush Co-op in Brooklyn, New York. And so they've been serving their community for over 40 years. And go check out their Facebook, their website. You'll see tons of photos of kids. They are all about the next generation and feeding and cultivating and giving opportunities to the next generation. They host back to school celebration where they give out food to all the kids going back to school. They sponsor and celebrate junior chef programs. So I just wanted to shout that out, that they are really supporting kids and the next generation of cooperation in their community.
Ah, I love that. Woo! All right, Flatbush. That is a terrific story. All right, everybody. Well, this has been Food Co-ops Now.
Keep cooperating, y'all. See you next time.